Hello and welcome to another video. Now I'm going to talk about the ego. What is the ego? We can say that ego is there to help you, to protect you, make sure you're not doing stupid things, that you to keep you alive, and there is this voice inside your head saying, "Oh, you better don't do that because then people will think you're stupid. You need to prove you're good, and don't put stupid stuff on internet because then they will think you're crazy." So this voice is actually there to protect us. And very important for the ego is that we are accepted. And it's very important for human beings to be accepted in the herd, because we depend on each other. If we are alone, we will not survive very long time. At least not when we lived wild in the wilderness in the countryside. The old societies were very depending on each other, and then the ego served to make sure that we were nice to people, we helped each other, we could work together. The ego makes sure that everybody liked me, so I could be a member of this nice family. Also, when we are kids, the our parents and other stuff in the environment tells us what is accepted, how do we have to behave to be accepted, to be loved, and we all want to be loved. And then the ego is like picking up all these rules, and then the ego starts to say, no, don't do that, and don't say that, because the ego wants to protect us. And as long as we have a little bit control over the ego could really be a good thing, a helper. The problem is when the ego is sitting in the front seat driving the car, and we are behind and just, okay, let's see where we end up. Then we will have a problem. We can look at it like everything has a bright side and a darker side, or a higher frequency and a lower frequency. And when the ego is more and more aligned with our higher self, the higher part of ourself, then it's good. Then we can work together with the ego, we can talk with the ego, we have a good relationship with the ego. But if we go lower and lower and we get more unconscious about the role that the ego is playing in our lives, the ego takes over, and the ego can really stop us from doing a lot of things. The ego likes to tell us bad stuff when we are here with the ego. The ego tells us that you're worthless, you're no good, you're nothing, you're not good for anything. Or the ego can also start to blame everybody else, because the ego wants to protect us from being wrong, from doing wrong. But on a lower level, the ego can then start to say that, oh, it's everybody else's fault. I haven't done anything. I'm perfect, so it must be you and you and you and you who did everything wrong. So the ego tries to protect us in different ways. And this is a good thing, but like I say, if we are not in control of the ego, it can be not very good anymore. Ego also often led us into victimhood. We start to be victims from the circumstances we are living in, because we don't want to be responsible. The ego don't want to be responsible. So it's just, I can't change this because of this and this and that. So I'm a victim to my situation. I'm a victim to the circumstances in my life. And when I start to identify as a victim, I give away my power to actually change my life. And the difficult thing here is to take responsibility. And the ego don't really want to be responsible for anything. And it changed from blaming others or getting into victimhood. And either way, it tries to be responsible. And when you're not responsible, how can you create anything? So to start to be aware of these voices that we have in our head, and try to see who is talking in here. There is a very nice book called Voice Dialogue from Hal and Sidra Stone. It's an old one, but it's a really good one. And they work with, which I have done a lot as well, trying to get this voice dialogue, the dialogue that is going on in your head, to be more clear, so that you can be more aware of those voices and what they are saying. Because very often they are talking at the same time, and this one starts and then this one is interrupting, and you can't really hear the whole story from one of them. So this technique is to, for example, find a controller, which is very much like the ego, and then you let this ego talk the whole story out. Let it speak for a longer time without all the other sides interrupting. And it's very important to give the ego, the controller, a bit of cred then, and say that it's very good that you try to protect this person. For example, if the ego tells you, "Oh, don't try to find or supply this for this new job because you're not good enough," and the ego really wants to protect you from doing stupid things, and the ego doesn't believe you will do this very well, so the ego tries to avoid you from getting into trouble, making a fool out of yourself, look stupid, look ignorant. The ego wants you to be perfect all the time, and trying to avoid everything that could maybe challenge this in any way. If you avoid everything that could be a challenge, of course, you will not develop. You will never learn anything, because you need to take some risks to get anywhere. Of course, it's good that the ego stop you from going too far, to jump out in front of a car, or trying to fly an airplane when you don't know how to. And the ego can really protect you to a certain level. But when you let the ego doing too much, and you're not in control, you're not really hearing that, okay, this is the ego talking, it's not really me, then it can stop you from doing a lot of things in your life. First thing is then to be this detective and spy on yourself, listen to the dialogue, the voices in your head. And if you really pay attention, and if you can write it down. If you try to really focus on what is the discussions that is going on in here, many times you can get very surprised what is really going on there, what these voices are telling you. I think we all have done, like, uh, if you have to make a decision in life, you write this pro and contra. What is the good with this? What can happen? What is the worst thing that can happen? And if we really look at it, we can see that we have one side against the other side, and they are a little bit like fighting in your head. If we dig a little bit deeper, if you make this list, this side says yes, go for it. The other side, no, 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 no. If you dig a little bit deeper and try to ask yourself, like, under all this argument is another argument. For example, don't go for the job because you will probably not get it. And under that is a fear of being neglected, to be not good enough. And under that, there is maybe uh, you are afraid of not being accepted, not being loved, not have everything that you need in life. If we dig deep enough, we come down to more or less two sides, which is love and fear. If it's not love, it is fear. And of course, when we start to talk about, oh, maybe I should do this, maybe I should do that, it doesn't sound like it comes from the source of love and fear. But if we dig a little bit deeper, it's more or less always you can see that it comes down to, is this love or is this fear? Everything the ego tells you not to do, everything inside you that say, oh, I don't dare to, I'm not good enough, I can't do it, it's not possible, I could never change that, I will not be able to, all of those things comes down to some kind of fear. And then it's very important that you ask yourself, is this fear relevant? Is this really something that is so dangerous that I should continue avoiding it? Or is it maybe that some of these things I should try to challenge? Is there some way I can change it into a more loving thought? And that includes, if your ego is making you the victim and trying to tell you that you're not good enough, could you change this into a more loving way to look at yourself? Could you give yourself more love and accept yourself and allow yourself to try, not judge yourself too hard? Maybe you can say, I can try to get this job, and if I don't get it, I will not judge myself, I will not start to think bad stuff about myself. Instead, I will love myself and say, it was very good that you tried. If I can be more nice, more friendly, more allow myself to not be perfect all the time and give myself credit for it, then with small step I can start to develop, I can start to stretch myself, to start to go out on bigger and more scary things. And for the ego, when you listen to the ego, for example, so many people are afraid of talking in public. And this really feels like, if I do it, I will probably die, I will faint at least, and I will not remember anything, I will not be able to talk, and this the this feeling is really so real. It feels like something is going to really happen in real life. Of course, that is not the truth. You will not die from speaking in public, but none of us want to make a fool out of ourselves. That's not a nice feeling. We want to be good, we want to be successful and famous and popular and loved and all that. And if you can start to try different things, just go a little bit out of your comfort zone and listen to what the ego tells you. sometimes you don't even have to go out of your comfort zone. You can just think about going out of your comfort zone and see what is going on in my system, my head, what the feelings, the emotions, the thoughts that is coming into my head, my heart, my everything, and just be aware of it. If it's too much to start to act, then just play with the thoughts of doing things and see what is in here, and be aware of that all the negative stuff is programming in some way. Your ego picked up things during the way. It learned how to avoid doing mistakes. When we were kids, our parents, the environment, uh, told the ego, don't do this because then they don't give you attention. Don't do that because they will punish you. Don't do that because then you will not be accepted or loved. In school, it's the same thing. If you didn't do the right thing, if you didn't wear the right clothes, um, if you didn't, whatever, you weren't accepted. So this programming is going on our whole lives, and even as adults, you we have in social media telling us that, oh, you need to be like this, you need to be like that, just put the nice photos up, you need to have your hair cut like this, you need to have glasses that is on the right whatever. Everything is like programmed. If you do this, if you are like that, then you will be accepted. And this is hindering us. It's really stopping us from being who we are, from doing what we really want to do. And the first step is always to be conscious about what is it in my head, what kind of voices do I have, what kind of doubts, what is really going on there. And when you start to be aware of what is going on, then you can start to question the programming. You can ask yourself, is this something that I choose? Is this thought something that I really want to have? Is this thought something that I decided to have? If I'm telling myself I'm not worthy, did I choose to think that? And I don't think any baby born on this earth comes with the feeling of not being worthy, not being good enough, not have the power to create wonderful things in life. I think that is something we pick up, we gain it during the way, and then because we put it there, we can also take it away. And of course, it's not very easy. And all of this stuff, working with yourself, it needs a little bit of time. But it's, in my opinion, it's really worth the effort, because if you start to look at yourself and you start to reprogram those things, it will liberate you. So you can more and more start to ask yourself really in from your heart, what do I want to do? And you can accept yourself as you are. And when you start to love yourself unconditionally, you will set yourself free to do more and more things, to create more and more things, and it will be a nice spiral, a positive one. And for every time you try something and you succeed, then you will have the courage to try something more and a little bit more and a little bit more. I said it before, sometimes on this journey you can benefit from some help, but be careful, because if your ego is very strong and your higher self is very weak, you can easily be a victim for people who wants to take advantage of you in any way. So if you find some guidance, make sure that the people who guides you tries to really make you strong from the inside, so that you're not getting more and more depending on something from the outside. For example, if I tell you that I will be your coach and then I make you dependent on me, so you have to come back every week, pay me more and more money, because the only energy force you have, energy supply you have in your life is coming from me, then it's unbalanced. But to have some sessions with someone, or joining a group or going for a retreat could be a good thing, but there is a lot of egos out there who wants to benefit from others' low self-esteem and taking advantage. So just be careful, and if whatever you find is not making you stronger, making you more and more connecting to your inner own power, instead making you more and more depending on something from the outside, then you need to say, wait, this is maybe the wrong way. Because if we can make the ego, instead of protecting us, telling everybody else is stupid, or telling that we are not good enough, if we can make the ego work more and more together with our higher self, and they can be good partners, and we can use the ego to help us develop instead of holding us down, then this can be super good. And this is what we try to achieve. If whatever you try brings you more and more down, then you have to ask yourself, is this really the right thing? Maybe I should try something else. If things brings you more and more down, it's probably because this person is sucking your energy out instead of bringing the power into you. Maybe this person is making your ego just telling you, oh look, this person is good, but you are not. If whatever you do makes your ego more and more negative, more and more down to more victimhood, blaming yourself, not loving yourself, then you're working in the wrong direction. Then you need to find a way to not go into fear, go into love. Try to love yourself. Ask yourself, why is there something there that doesn't love me unconditionally? And try to find what it is, which you can do with a coaching session, for example. When you can work together with your ego, when you can talk to your ego, you can say, hello, come on, get out from this victimhood mood. Let's do something better. When we can start to, have a nice dialogue instead of fighting or bringing ourselves down with the inner dialogue, then we can really start to develop. We can start to create stuff. It sounds like schizophrenia, but I'm sure we all have a lot of voices in our head. And make sure those voices, your controller, your ego, is helping you, that you benefit from it instead of letting this bring you down. I think that was all for now, and I'm really hoping that you can start to find this dialogue inside your head, and if you need, say it out loud, write it on a piece of paper. Maybe you can find someone to talk to about it. And when you get this dialogue out, so you can see it, you can hear it, get some perspective, then it's more easy to start to change stuff. And please write something in the comments if you discovered something, if you heard some voice in your head, if you managed to find the controller in there, somebody telling you you're not good enough, if you could find the opposite that is really saying I'm worthy, I can do it, I'm able to. And let's see. I'm looking forward to your comments and hope to see you soon again. Bye bye.